Hello, Stacy, and welcome to the Make Life Rich Movement podcast. Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm so excited to be here.
Stacy, I fell in love with you and your amazing partner. Is it Marav? I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
You guys were on a show that I came across while sick with the flu, and I binged 2 seasons. And in the second season, I came across you and your partner alongside another co-host that we'll call not co-host. You were
Another
all on the
founder.
show together.
Mhm.
Gloria of Gloria Chateau. I had her on the show a few weeks ago, and I have to say, it was so refreshing to see a brand move with mission at its center and truly stick to that center with so many shiny objects in front of you. And I think the resolve of that and just the belief that you had in your business and your product, I was like, oh my gosh, I love these ladies. I hope I get to talk to them in the future. And fast forward, here we
I
are.
love it. I love it. It's always, I believe the universe brings people together when they're meant to come together. So I love it.
Yeah, I think what drew me to the two of you, for people listening, they know I'm a publicist, but I just come across so many brands, and you can have a great product, but if you don't have grit and belief in what you're doing and the tenacity to follow it through and believing in the actions, even if the actions don't look like they're producing a result, is what leads to these gigantic aims of success that we're going for. And I just saw that so much in you and your partner throughout the very intimate landscape of The Side Hustlers, which is a show on Roku. Uh, your company is called All Better Co., which I immediately was like, please, for the love of God, let this be like something in the healthcare industry that's actually safe and healthy for you. And you are. They have created the Better Bandage and Eco First Aid just product line that you're going to absolutely run to click in the show notes and purchase everything for your pharmacy and your cabinet at home, because they've made first aid better, and they've done so in a way that absolutely seems like it should have happened a really long time ago. But in 2022,
Yes.
actually, let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's go to the moment where you and Marav decided that you were just sick of what was out there and you wanted to explore.
Yeah. Well, I love this story. It's my favorite story to tell. So Merav and I actually met on the playground of our kids' school. And we like to joke and we say it all the time and we will say it at nauseum, like moms solve problems in the parking lot. Like it's just what we do. It's how it is. And for a really long time, we were really just thought partners. I came from a marketing and partnership background, and Merav came from nonprofit work, running like a national nonprofit working with budgets and operations and stuff. So like very different skill sets. So when I would like draw her in to work on all of the like parent events with me, we would just thought partner on tons of things from business to communications. She would help me with communications with my clients. And the other thing we spoke about a ton, not as sexy, but a real problem for us was mosquitoes. We are based in Southern California, in Los Angeles specifically. I'm born and raised, and it was not an issue that we had. And about 5 years ago, we saw an uptick. It's a problem. It's a problem actually all across the country with, global warming, flying insects. But here in particular, we live here for our life outdoors, and it was really impeding that because two of my three kids have like off the chart histamine reactions. And I ran into Marav actually at the pharmacy one day when I was going to pick up prescribed topical steroids for my daughter because it was the only thing that was providing her relief. And we just looked at each other, and Marav has kids with eczema. So we're talking like sensitive skin. And we're like, this is not intended for everyday use for anyone. There's got to be something better. And so we would spend time, what are you doing for eczema and bites? What are you doing? And you know what? We really couldn't find something that was cleaner, that worked. And we were all of these products out there. And so that's what really kind of got us starting. Cut to COVID, we're spending a lot of time outdoors with our families, and it was like peak season, and we're just getting eaten alive, and we're Zoom schooling our kids, and we're off here texting like, what are you doing? I'm ordering salves from like Germany. What are you doing? And then she called me one day and she said, I have an idea. And her idea was what is now our Don't Scratch That patch, the original mosquito bite patch. And to describe it for your listeners, it is essentially a pimple patch for mosquito bites. And it is infused with botanicals. So when you put it on, we say you seal and heal at the same time.
Mm.
And I come from brand, and I was really adamant that I didn't want to be a one trick pony. So I said, listen, if we're going to do this, let me like dig around a little bit. And so when I started to dig, what I found was that bug care, if we want to call it, lives in kind of this first aid space. But first aid is really at this intersection of personal care, right? Like
Mm.
it's not skin care as we know it, but it is definitely skin and care of that skin. And
Mhm.
we thought, why are we spend so much time talking about what we put in our bodies. As women, especially, we talk about our skin from the neck up. Why are we not talking about what we're putting on our body's largest organ and certainly on our kids? And so that was when we realized that, if you go down the first aid aisle, there are formulations and there's branding that has been the same for 75 years. And you know what? We know better. And so we thought it's time to do better.
Oh, man. And all better you did because
Yeah.
wow, your product line is so amazing. I wanna, like, wait till we jump into that. I don't wanna,
Yeah.
like, give
Yeah.
them too much yet because I live in New Jersey. I live on the bay and in between the bay and the marsh, so I am a human blood bank for mosquitoes, and I'm the only one in my family and in my household that they like to bite.
There's always one.
I've thrown glass against the wall. Okay, that's how incensed I have been over just the itching, and nothing makes it go away. I've even like taken to spraying like gosh, like Everclear alcohol onto it.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
here, like get it out.
We're
Like I
desperate.
can't
We'll
take
try
it anymore.
anything. We'll try anything. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that desperation and, it being for easing the discomfort of your children makes total sense that it took mothers to finally address this problem. We've had mosquitoes for hundreds of years
Yeah.
plaguing us, at least in Cape
Yeah.
May. Like
And
it,
I'm
it
that person too. And by the way, like here in September and October, it's really bad. Like my legs are covered with our Don't Scratch That patch. And I also just want to add, because people think, oh, well, I'm that person, yes, that gets them. It's the bites, yes, but it's when we scratch them and we irritate them and we open them that we are susceptible to infection. So
Mhm.
specifically with that product, it really prevents you from doing that.
Oh, I love it. I also am so intrigued by kind of the coalescing of both of your professional backgrounds before diving into something that you had to, in essence, absorb very quickly out of sheer necessity and just passion. But it is very intriguing to me that having seen now your time on the show and your background with brands and marketing and Murav's background with budgeting and understanding organizational systems and keeping things together in a manner that I'm imagining would ail like would not ail you in scaling it. It's going to bring you, that cushion that most business owners don't get. So in having this knowledge in the back of your head, that's kind of almost like the 3.0 level of entrepreneurship. Like you start with your product and then you're like, okay. And then you figure out your customers and then you're like, great. And then you're like, crap, now we need systems. So having that already put in the back, did you guys build from the back to the front in essence because you were like, all right, well, we know we're our customers. So like, what are we looking for here? How did it work out in just creating and deciding what you were going to cover in terms of your I don't want to use any medical jargon, but they're basically magic. So let's talk about your magic. How did it all come to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, our our partnership is magic, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like you could not, and we are completely opposites. We have completely different skill sets in business. We tackle life differently. We kind of joke like I'm a little bit more sunshine and rainbows, and Mirav's a little bit more like brings the reality on some days. And really, the truth is, we need both, right? So from everything from our skill sets to personality, it just works. I mean, we kind of joke that we're like, it's probably one of the healthiest relationships that I have. Right. So that from the beginning made it feel like, oh, this could really work, because partnerships are hard. They
Mhm.
are hard work. And I've been in them. And, um, that was the first thing we evaluated. Like, we had this instinct that we could work together. Again, very different working styles, very different communication styles. You probably saw it a little bit on the show. Marav, like, jokingly will say, like, she has to look to me before she can speak to make sure it's coming out in the right way. And she's teaching me to, be a bit more assertive and say no more, and do things. So we're learning these kind of personality traits that are really important to grow in life and business. And then we found that our skill sets, right? Like, she does all of the things that I don't want to do. Like, it's really, like you said, that operational stuff, making sure we set up those systems from the beginning. And I think from the beginning, what was important to us was to be on the same page about what we wanted to grow and how we wanted to grow it. Like, do we just want to have a business that is truly a side hustle and maybe it kind of grows and it kind of does it? We didn't. And we knew both of that from the beginning. From the beginning, we knew we wanted to make good products. We didn't want to put out more earth garbage into the world. We wanted to make sure that they worked. And then we wanted to build a company that would change our families' lives, period. Like,
Ugh.
we are not building a $5 million company. In our hearts and minds, we are building a $500 million company. And
Mhm.
that's what we started with. And so that informs how we set the business up. We did the hard stuff right away. We set up our partnership plan, which, founders need to know. When you set those up, you actually have to work through worst case scenarios first. If we break up, what's that going to look like? If, like, really hard, intense questions.
Mhm.
So we established that pretty quickly. And then again, it was kind of easy because we sit in these different, like, silos for us to do what we do. Now, I know what's happening on operations. I know what's happening in our business, but I don't hold that, right? And Mirav
Mhm.
knows what's happening on brand and creative and PR and marketing, but she doesn't hold that. So
Mhm.
it's really great because we can work in those lanes. And
Mhm.
I'll tell you, when we decided to go out and build our first couple of products, we launched with 2 products. And when we set out to do it, there was a lot of research. Like, people ask us, that's our first question. How did you do it? Neither of us has CPG experience. The truth is, we asked a lot of questions, and we still do. We ask so many questions because we know what we're good at and we know what we're not. And we know where we need help. And I think there's something to us starting our company a little bit later in, like, our lives. I'm in my mid 40s now, not so much in my mid 40s. And I really don't think I could have done this 10 years ago with some of the, like, insight, wisdom, patience, wherewithal, honestly,
Mhm.
because we have to be resourceful. So we set out to build these 2 products with kind of our strong partnership in place. We knew who would be doing what. And when we found our formulators, we went with them with kind of like a pile of, like, here's what we want. Here's what we've done a ton of research on ingredients. Tell us what you think will work, what won't work. And so the beauty of that was we kind of cut through some of that initial noise of onboarding with our formulators. And then when they came with our prototypes, our feedback cycles were really quick because we knew,
Mm.
like, we really knew, hey, no, this we don't want any high allergen, type of ingredients. We don't, oh yeah, we know people talk about essential oils being great, but it turns out they're not distilled and diluted. They can really cause problems, especially in kids. Me too. I get headaches. So
Mhm.
I think really building on that partnership and where
Mhm.
we comfortably sit gave us a really strong advantage.
Ugh, it sounds like it. And for anyone listening that is entertaining the thought of starting a business alone, let alone with someone, I think, as Stacy said, you're not only entering into a business, there is a full blown relationship attached. And if you are truly looking to go the long haul, this could be a 20, 30-year relationship. And you want to lean on the positive side of things, but it is really, really important to be able to have conversations ahead of time. And even with yourself, knowing What am I willing to sacrifice? What am I willing to give? What are my boundaries? What are my no's? What are my yeses? And also, as Stacy said, having that clear, finite vision of knowing what they did not want did lead them to a very quick path of understanding, okay, we don't want this. What about that? Ooh, researching this. Ooh, that sounds sus. What about it over here? Okay, great. The art of the pivot can get you so far in life so quickly if you let it be a game. And I would imagine that the two of you, as moms and automatic problem solvers, did treat it like a game. So, what were some of the harder learning curves that you had to get through? And how did you make it a little bit easier on yourselves while that process was happening?
Well, I think we had to be patient. That was really hard because we had an idea, and it turns out that, if you want to make a product right, especially that first one, we really had to be patient. And we actually got to a point where we felt like we were ready to launch, but because our two products were solving a very specific pain point at first, which were bugs, we kind of like were teetering on this line of like, oh, should we launch? Like we're kind of at the tail end of the season, but we really want to get to market, but does it make sense? And so we were sitting here with our product ready to go like late September, early October, and we had to make a really like look at ourselves and say, okay, we could launch because we're desperate to get out there, but is it really the right decision? Are we setting ourselves up for success knowing that this specific product might not be needed as much by most people for the next few months? That was a really like one of our first decisions. That was a really hard one to make. Talk about pivoting, right? Like, because we were then talking about pushing about 3 or 4 months. And we're over here like, no, we got to go fast. We got to move. But we really had to evaluate where we were in the cycle of where our product was sitting and make a hard choice, which was to push. So we pushed, and that was really hard. So we were sitting with our product for, a good minute until we were actually able to launch it. It was a hard decision, but it was the right decision. And so I think it's things like that. Like you really like not jumping the gun, and um, that was something. And we learned how to really work through hard external relationships initially, and how to set boundaries there and how to demand like what our needs were and how to be the client. But also, it is really, really important for us to build our company with integrity. And we essentially believe that we are building our company and brand the same way we are raising our families, with the same values, the same things that we tell our kids every single day. My kids walk out the door and I say to them, have a great day, make good choices, and be kind. That's it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
be kind. And that's, I don't know, there's really like nothing more important than that. And we
Mm-hmm.
have led with that every step of the way. Like, we won't get bowled over, but we do everything with integrity and kindness. And I think in return, what we receive is like tenfold.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think it's a good adage for anyone to have, kind of regardless of what you're doing in your business. And often I've had conversations with over at least 150 entrepreneurs now on the show, and everyone has the same thought process. And it's that they wish that there was more of an environment. The easiest way to explain is kind of like preschool. Like, you're nice to everyone, you want to help everyone. It's for the greater good of everyone in the room being happy. If one little kid's crying, everyone's coming over. Hey, how can we help you? Look at, like, the community is innate and it's just there because it's how we always were. And I think over time you lose that. And entrepreneurship is one of those moments where you really do become extremely grateful and very thankful for the community that you're able to build, because you know that it's authentic and it is for the purpose of people just believing in what you're doing and wanting to help you along the way. And, if you have a product that may involve you now having to extend and have a relationship with people that are physically creating it for you or formulating it or packaging it or, distributing it. And there's so much that we don't think about. And one of the easiest ways to ensure that your business is running smoothly is to make sure that you're treating very kindly all the people that are involved in that entire chain of process.
100%. And I think that, not to like toot our own horn, but as women, we typically say
Beep,
that. So I'm
beep.
just going to do it. It's often our partners say to us, wow, like, thank you. Like they're late on a deliverable and we like figured out with them. And they're like, wow, thank you for extending such grace. And in the end, we want the best output. And what's it going to serve if we aren't moving with kindness and integrity, and don't get it twisted, at the beginning we needed a lot of favors. We needed a lot of favors.
Mhm.
And takes a tremendous amount of like we had to be like diplomacy, again, kindness, and authentic, and it was authentic. It wasn't, there was
Mhm.
nothing disingenuous about it.
Mhm.
And by the way, those people that offered us, we are loyal to them. Those, like, they have worked with us. And so for as long as we can maintain those relationships and it makes sense, we will
Mhm.
always go back to those vendors right now because they are the ones that are believing in us and
Mhm.
what we're doing.
Oh, it's there's so much to be said about loyalty as well, and I think technology is really, in a way, it's kind of taken out a lot of the comfort that a personal relationship in your day-to-day life would have provided throughout, being a business owner. So it's so beautiful to hear people speak about, the human side of running a business. And I think it's something that gets really easily overlooked. Guys, interpersonal communications can truly open the world for you in so many ways that you're not aware of. If you're not a person that is good at speaking with people, there's never been a better day than today to go out and practice. So give it a go. You really do want to branch out, at least in the understanding of finding your people that are going to be supportive if you're stepping into a new venture. Like Stacy could have had people around her that were poo-pooing on her idea and they're like, "What? You're a mom. You have kids in school. This is crazy. You're not going to, be able to pay your bills, blah blah blah." Everybody has all the fear things. And I know that you both took an extreme leap of faith because on the show, you were kind of famously used to promote the show in stating that, like, very tearfully, that you are going on 3 years of no income because you believe so much in what's happening. And I think I for one was crying hysterically in that moment cuz I'm like, this is honesty. This is real entrepreneurship. This is what it looks like for 75%, probably more, of entrepreneurs around America. They are going on years of not being able to take a pay, but they believe in what they're doing. And it's those people that make it to the other side over that hump, and they put in all the work that wasn't looking as if it was manifesting into something. And then all the pieces fall into place. And I think having seen your time on the show and having followed you since then, and now being able to speak with you here and knowing what you're doing, it does really seem like those 3 years and that personal struggle that led you to also simultaneously, almost symbiotically, build the business along with the strength that the two of you individually needed to have within yourselves because of your different strengths and the things that are being thrown at you. It's like, to be a $500 million company, you have to eat shit, and you have to eat shit for a few years. And I think people negate and think it's so easy to compartmentalize your personal growth. You have to be a $500 million CEO to have a $500 million company. And the personal growth that must accompany each stage of your business. Guys, you don't go on vacation for a week and work on yourself. You're working on yourself while worrying about PO slips and is inventory up, and oh my god, we have a printing error with the labels, and holy fuck, the website's down. Like, this is all happening while you're worrying about your existential crisis, and is this my true passion in life, and am I doing everything I can to be a good mother, and hello, my mom, I haven't seen her in 2
And
months, and
is
like
there
there's
enough toilet paper so my kids can wipe their butts? Like,
the simple things. But can you go off on this, please? Because it was so beautifully apparent just through those, I guess you said it was 7 weeks of filming, to see that was a personal journey for the two of you on that show. And you had so much thrown at you, but what has your personal journey been like since the beginning days to where you are now in your business and the two of you both kind of growing in step?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really, really important, and we have to remind ourselves of this, is that we live in a culture and a society where everything feels very instantaneous. You have overnight viral moments, you have overnight famous TikTokers, you have a product that took off, and it seems like everything happens quickly. And so, you know, yet 3 years because we were in COVID, right? So we went like a year and a half. Like I was consulting before that. No one needed consultants during COVID. Um, and so I think that we remind ourselves daily that it is a marathon. Like we are building something with intention, with purpose and thoughtfulness. And so we have always known this wasn't going to be an overnight thing. And especially for us, there's a real reality that a lot of founders come to their businesses either backed with a ton of money, they had an exit, and so they're bringing money to start it. And that is something that is not talked about. It's the founders that like we had no money, we had no outside money, none. It was ours. We were making a bet on ourselves. And I will also say the really other thing that we are grateful for and fortunate for is that we do have partners, our domestic partners, that can help carry that load. And not all founders are have that. And that is a huge thing that I have to say because I have been used to contributing financially to my household, and it is something that is in my core, like needed and desired and part of my identity. But
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that we are really lucky to have partners that have been able to carry that load. And yeah, and like not all founders can do that. That is, we are, so I just want to say that. And I think the thing is that, and in addition, I specifically, like my husband, I have no bigger cheerleader than him. Like he believes in this company, in the both of us. Like he's betting on it too. He knows. And to have that kind of inner support, I mean, talk about growth. It's my marriage. It's scary. And it builds resilience. And it is like, listen, there are some days that are so effing hard. And, it's like the holidays are coming. Like, I wish I had a little bit extra for my kids. Like, and I live a very blessed life, but that is really the reality. And you make choices. We're not going on vacations. We're not doing the extras. We are really making life choices to see our business succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And that, it takes a lot of courage. It takes
Mm-hmm.
a lot of resilience. It takes, like you said, a lot of shit eating. But I
Mm-hmm.
think what we do have to remind ourselves, and this is am personally working on this. This is a very hard thing for me. And I'm working on this with like my spirit guides and my women's circles. I have a very hard time receiving. And I think that is very typical of many women, like to receive the accolades, the compliments. And so I say that because an area of growth personally and in business, we have to celebrate the small wins and the big wins. And
Oh,
we have many.
yes. It's so beautiful. You got me.
Yeah. So I think that on those days, and in fact, a couple months ago, I was really, things were hard. I can't remember what it was, but it was a hard week. And I wish I could give like credit where it was due to someone that gave me this idea, but I called Mirav and I said, let's get on. We do a lot by, Zoom, FaceTime, like let's get on. We need to write down together every single win that we have made. Think about it and put it on paper right now. Both of us put it on paper and it's going to live next to us as we're working. And let's keep adding and adding and adding. And remember,
Mm-hmm.
small, big, don't care. Like we need to honor that and celebrate it.
Mm-hmm. Man, you've just dropped so many knowledge bombs there. I think again, the luxury of getting to speak to so many business owners, and it's always, people just driven by pure passion, and they know that there's a reason for them doing what they're doing, and they were put here to do it. And there's such a I'm 39. My age group, I think, was from 39 to 50. I'll say like 52. It seems like we were the age group that got, the old with the new thinking in terms of like, you can do it, but like also don't do too much. Like you have responsibilities in the house. And there's this really beautiful enmeshing right now of, I think, partners, and especially in the conversation I'm having, men being able to support their wives' dreams and it both bringing them significant joy to be the provider for their family in a way that all men deeply want to be able to do for their families. And then in turn, it seems that, you know, women like you are, and myself, like I literally have this podcast because of my husband who goes to work every day and fulfills my dreams and comes home and edits it and does all of this for me. And it really gives me such hope for the future because we do have these really beautiful, innumerable examples of partnerships where people are sacrificing to put forth time and effort and love and energy into their partner to allow them to achieve their dreams, because we are the generations that are signifying the importance of going after one's dreams and what that means when you go after it and when you achieve it. And I'm crying now because it is such a thing that has become such a common occurrence in my interviews that I know most certainly above all it matters that you have someone in your corner. And if you are lucky enough to have that person be someone that you're living with in the home and you see them all the time, that's great. But if you are one of those people that don't have that someone right now, as Stacy also said, that's such a beautiful place to look for support are your women's groups, networking circles. Where can you find other people that, maybe they're not in the phase of life where they have a life partner or someone currently as their life partner that's supporting them? You do have the opportunity to find other women like us that are also looking to be in community and share our wins and have someone look you in the face and cry for your win because they know what that win means to you. It's so beautiful that you kind of put that all out there because, again, it's the humanity side of business that makes it worth it. And it is so often overlooked and, replaced with influencers and celebrities and blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, what good are you doing for the world? And it starts in your own home. It starts in your heart. What good are you doing for yourself with this? Is it rippling out to your family? Is it rippling out to your community? And for you choosing the industry that is riddled with such disgusting, dangerous, especially to children, ingredients and products for the bug industry, we'll just start with that and then work over to band-aids and all of the sticky, icky that is there. I would love to segue into that because I
Yeah.
think it's so amazing that you guys took on this huge behemoth of an industry that really hasn't advanced since it seems the 50s. Talk about that. What went into finding both eco-friendly and safe options that you guys felt comfortable guinea pigging basically on yourselves and your
Yeah.
children? Because I think that's something big we need to discuss. This was made in the home and later formulated outward. So tell
Yeah.
us all about that.
Yeah. So the first two products that we launched with, I think I mentioned the first one, which is our Don't Scratch That patch. And our second product, which is kind of like my baby, is our Don't Scratch That pen, which is actually a one-to-one solution to replace hydrocortisone. So it is an anti-itch, anti-inflammatory cream that can go on your body. You can use it as many times as you want during the day. It works for bug bites. It works for any minor skin irritation, minor rashes, allergies. The same way you would use hydrocortisone in your house, you can use our Don't Scratch That pen. And it is our proprietary formula. We own it. We made it with our chemists. And again, we have to say there's always a place for Western medicine. Like it, sometimes it's just needed. But our
Mhm.
personal feelings as moms and the way that we look at everything we bring into the house, if there's the opportunity to bring in something better, then we're going to try that first.
Yes.
And here's the other thing I want to say when it comes to this industry and making changes. We are all about progress, not perfection. So as we were building this, we had to remind ourselves it doesn't have to be perfect. And again, it's in our name. Better is simply better. And let's start there. So I'll give you an
Mhm.
example. We really think about our formulations, and we also think about our form factors, right? The way that it's going to deliver to the skin. And our pen comes in, like, we had this idea to put it in like a lip gloss dispenser, like those old school lip gloss dispensers that twist at the bottom. And the reason we did that is because we wanted people to have the opportunity to not have to touch where they're applying, because it's really, really simple for little hands to do themselves, give them some
Mhm.
autonomy to do it. And there's not
Mhm.
as much waste because you're not squeezing a tube and then leaving it. So all of those things were aligned. But when it came to the actual receptacle, there really wasn't a totally, completely, there wasn't a perfect solution that was completely eco-friendly. We use post-consumer plastic,
Mhm.
and there's a perfect example. It is not perfect, but it is better.
Mhm.
And that is what really our message is about. But what I can assure you, what you are putting on your skin is way better than all of the things that we are buying that are full of chemicals, forever chemicals, things that really
Mhm.
just shouldn't be on our body
Mhm.
as much as we're putting them on our body, right? Again, go back to
Yeah.
it. Sometimes we have to, but again, our skin is our body's largest organ. It absorbs things, it takes in environmentally all of the things. We really need to start thinking about it, what we're doing and what we're putting on. And when people actually ask me who our demographic is, it's anyone with skin. Like anyone with skin should be using our products. We start with moms because they are typically, heads of households with purchasing power in their homes, buying for their children. I'm part of the sandwich generation. I'm thinking about healthcare decisions for my parents. And
Mhm.
just in general, moms, our sphere of influence is pretty rad. It's pretty extensive. And so we just saw that out there, in some cases, like Neosporin, for example, I'm just going to call it out. If you ask any dermatologist, they will tell you it is a no. And as Marav would say, this is your reminder to go and find that little packet that's probably 7 years expired, that's in your cabinet, and toss it. Toss it. It is not something we should be putting on our skin. And why do we do it? Because it's just what we were taught. Like it was in our
Mhm.
first aid kit. Our moms or dads or our caretakers used it. Our nurses used it. So it made
Mhm.
sense. Well, now we're going to start getting people to think about it because simply what has been out there for 75 years, quite frankly, by these big companies, we can just do much better. We can
Mhm.
start incrementally. Doesn't have to be
Mhm.
perfect, just has to
Mhm.
be better.
I love that so much. And I think, like, taking your daughter, for example, of needing the steroidal creams, the instances and how, you've cut that down now by having something that you can use for the minor instances. And if you truly need something to warrant a steroidal cream, you have access to it, but it isn't something you need to use in every instance. I love also the fact that you are very aware and very in tune with reality, to the fact that branding, I'll say this. If you lived and existed before the internet, guys, you are very well aware of not every single thing under the sun needing to be a perfectly hermetically sealed branded thing in an entity where everything makes sense. And no, that's not life. That's not reality. And to be quite honest, you should question anything that appears to be perfect in its essence or its lineup, or that means that they use very oftentimes inexcusable ingredients at the detriment of it looking like something safe and healthy for you, when
Yeah,
in reality it's a lot of band-aiding.
yeah, and just to give you a very specific example with one of our products that we were R&Ding, we were talking about, right, like its form factor, its receptacle, and this particular item that we're trying to build. People said, well, what if you use the kind of like cardboard, like more of like a recyclable outside? And so we thought about it, and here's the truth: it's perceived that that would be better. However, actually the footprint to make that, the carbon footprint to make it, to get it, to bring it to me, is just as bad, if not in some cases worse, than me using a post-consumer plastic for the time being and it working better. So for us, we are not going to sacrifice efficacy to necessarily get it exactly right on the packaging just yet. And we're transparent
Mhm,
about that. We talk
mhm,
about that
mhm,
it is evolving and we will
mhm,
always strive to do better, but we're going to just like take it slowly.
mhm. Ugh, I love that. All right, tell us about your balm. My niece has eczema, and it's just so terrifying to read the ingredients and things they expect you to put on a 1.5-year-old for skin irritants.
Yeah.
So tell us about the balms, and then just like go through everything because
Yeah.
you've got a lot. I want to make sure we get them all
Yeah.
in there so everyone knows.
So after bugs, we kind of segued. We hit winter, and so winter skin is kind of like the worst. It's just I'm already right now. I'm in Los Angeles. We're
Itchy.
so dry. We're so parched. People that have skin irritations, have flare ups, right at these kind of like temperature changes, one direction or the other. So the couple products we put out, we have our Better Lippy, which is it's so simple. It's just a lippy. It's a chapstick with SPF in it, but it doesn't leave that like weird white residue all over your mouth that like who wants that? No one wants that. It's really simple, but guys, we should be putting SPF on our lips because they are exposed to the sun and then like the nose more than any other body part. Then we actually had our Better Balm, which we are sold out of. So when we get funded, we will go back into production. But that was basically us thinking like, okay, instead of rubbing like lotion, some people, like my sister-in-law, hates the feeling of lotion on her skin. And so, yeah. And so our balm, which was made with like beautiful ingredients like colloidal oatmeal and things that are super moisturizing, is in a form factor where you like really rub it on like a balm, like a deodorant, and you can, it just sinks into your skin and it makes silky and it is intense moisturizing, so intense. But because, so we went there and then it's so interesting you mentioned the show because we had this little gap and we were part of the show that was beautiful in so many ways and really pushed us out of our comfort zone in so many ways. And we kind of got a year into our business and realized as we were starting to think about talking to investors and our consumers that we're positioning ourselves as a better first aid company, but we only had bug products. Like our visibility was bugs and we didn't want to be the bug babies.
Mhm,
So we had to really go back and think about our core mission and where we wanted to head. And we had to take a little bit of an intentional pause
mhm,
and think about what that would look like. And so I'm so proud. This year, we've launched our first two of a few different more core first aid products. Like, what do you think of when you think of first aid? You think of Band-Aids, you think of Neosporin, and you think of an antiseptic. Those are like the three things. So in the spring, we launched our Better Bandage, which is a bamboo biodegradable, compostable bandage that you use. Like most people know the brand Band-Aid, but really what they sell are bandages. And what is crazy and fortuitous about it is that about 2 weeks after we launched our bandages, this very extensive study came out and said that a significant amount of band-aids and bandages on the market have really high levels of PFAs, forever chemicals. What does that mean? We are reaching for products, in some cases, open wounds and putting them on our skin and delivering forever chemicals into our body. It's a
mhm,
no for me. Like it is a no. And so we went back to our manufacturer to make sure that our products are in the best of manufacturing, and just like really safe. And truly, you can take them off and throw them in your garden, and they're incredible. And then about 3 weeks ago, we just launched our everything spray, which talk about pivoting. So we noticed something in the market that was making sense. And it's a very specific ingredient, which is hypochlorous acid. And a lot of beauty companies have started to use it for like a face mist to clearing up acne and inflammation. And we started thinking about it and we started talking to a couple of scientists. Hypochlorous acid is a naturally occurring chemical from our own body. So, what it's doing when we put it on a wound or a skin irritation or a rash is it is kind of like jumpstarting our body's own healing power. And that's what our bodies are meant to do. Really, in so many instances, our bodies can actually heal themselves if we allow them to. So, our everything spray is a multi purpose first aid mist. You can use it as a cleaning agent. It will support healing, it will soothe. And if you want to have something, it will go in your diaper bag. It works on diaper rash, it works on rashes, it works on blisters, it works on sunburns. It's just really kind of like a little kind of like miracle worker. Like it's so incredible. And so we just launched that, which is like the perfect like best friend to our Better Bandage. Um, I'm just so incredibly proud of those two products and getting them out because we are really now staking like our claim. Oh yeah, we're a first aid brand, and soon. I can't really talk about a couple other things that we have coming this year, but the goal is really like reimagine your mom's first aid kit.
Mhm.
That's the goal. We're going to deliver a kit with all of the things that you need with better ingredients. And we're going to think about use cases. Someone that's going camping might need something different for like their daughter's soccer team. Like we carry first aid kits, right? Like maybe different things need to be in those kits. So again, it's about mindfulness, intention, and what we need. Um, and just so excited. I'm so excited.
You should be. It's amazing. And you're truly taking on a multi-billion-dollar behemoth industry and doing something that everyone knows that needs to be done and just hasn't. And I love that you guys took the bull by the horns and you've gotten so far in, gosh, 2 years. It's insane the amount of time and effort that you've put in. And I would love to hear a little bit. Guys, if you're listening and you're like, all right, not only am I obsessed, I'm going to buy all your stuff, but how can I become more involved? How can I potentially own part of your company? So let's talk about investing with All
Yeah.
Better Co.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm going to start to get tears in my eyes because one thing that we've really have now become very impassioned about is women as investors, women increasing their financial fluency. I think especially in this country in society, women traditionally are taught to spend our money. We're taught to spend it or donate it. We are not taught, like our gender counterparts, to grow it, our
Mhm.
own personal wealth. Like who's getting approached with the business opportunities in your household? Think about it. Really think about it. If
Mhm.
someone has an idea and they're coming, who are they going to? Historically they were going to my husband, like
Mhm.
like, oh, I have this idea for you, oh, you should invest in this stock, oh, this idea. So about a year ago, we were approached by a VC called Pixel Recess, and they talked to us about this new platform that exists. Instead of a Kickstarter, it's called a Reg CF or a purpose round. It's a community round. So traditionally in a Kickstarter, if someone's having a product, they go out and try and raise money, and you give $100 and you get something in return, and that's kind of it. You've helped them. Great. It's amazing. Wonderful. But what our purpose round allows us to do is we now can take investment from accredited and non accredited investors. And what that means is for a very attainable entry point, and if you go on our website, there's a button that says invest here. We have a goal that we are going to raise $1 million from our community, and that community will earn shares and be owners of our company. You will have invested in the growth of our company. And I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, I do have $500 or I do have this, but it's not going to help. So I'm not going to write that check. This allows for anyone that believes in us and wants to help us grow, honestly, to write a check as little as $100. You will have to go through a little bit of paperwork, but it is all SEC regulated. So this is like, we do it because these are the laws and we are protecting you. And if you write a $100 check, a $250 check, it is going into a pot with hopefully thousands of other people. And we will incrementally get there. But what I love is we will put our business on the backs of our community who believe in us to grow and to now compete and to get product on the shelves and to market ourselves to do better as a community. Anyone can
Love it.
invest, but we really want women to think about, hey, if you have that spare, I know it's a lot to ask, but if you have it, what do you get in return? You are getting an investment. And when we sell our company, when we become that $700 million company, you will be an investor that will get a return on it. But also, when you see us out in the wild, you get to say, oh my gosh, see that product on the brand, on the shelf at Target? I own a piece. I'm an
Hmm.
investor. How
Hmm.
cool is that?
It really is the new wave, and I haven't heard of Pixel. Is it Recess or Reset?
Pixel Recess, and they are helping underserved, underrepresented founders by helping them build these platforms. And
Fucking love it.
really, for women who, we traditionally are, well, we are, like, what do they say? In terms of VC dollars, we're only receiving 2% of VC dollars, and we are underfunded across the board. You ask so many women what's their number one reason for not going out and chasing their dreams. It's capital. And
Hmm.
so this platform for women especially is really giving us access to networks and people that want to support us.
I love that so much. And I think there's, man, it's so funny because you do see conversations starting to take a turn, like women and not, listen, guys, my closet is full of shit. And if my husband wasn't around to intercept some packages, I have a lot more clothes, okay? But I don't. And
You
it's
know
time
what?
to invest in our portfolios and not so much our wardrobes, guys. Like let's like turn
Listen,
around the narrative here and
if
help
Mirav,
ourselves.
if Mirav were here, she would be like jumping for joy. She's like, for what you spend on coffee in probably a month, what you could invest in a company, and you can make a difference for women
Mhm,
like ours that are chasing our dream and chasing
mhm,
something better and something that the world needs. You can still get your bag, but like maybe you
mhm.
just don't get like the extra one. Like
Yeah.
we can do
Get
it.
the small. Yeah,
Yeah,
get the smaller size. It's
yeah,
I think it's also really beautiful too because for anyone not really aware of industry upheaval, they are absolutely at the forefront of this. The first 20 companies to get it right in this new vein will be purchased,
yeah, yeah,
unequivocally purchased.
yeah.
There will
That's
be
the
several, many zeros behind whatever number you place in front of it. Maybe even the first 100 companies to do it well are still going to absolutely get effing paid. And not only that, they have set the tone for the industry at large to evolve and change. Very similar to Burt's Bees, like
the
Tom's.
honest company. Yeah.
There is an evolution that's happening, and although there may be some dial backs when that happens, there is the continual evolution of better and better and better brands coming, like All Better Co, that are going to keep moving that needle upward and upward with our standards and what we're willing to accept as a populace, as consumers. And I'm so thankful for you and your partner for sticking to your guns and knowing that this is something that needed to be done in a way that it needed to be done because this is your purpose and your mission. And no one is going to know that purpose and mission better than the two of you that were picked and put here to bring it forth to life, which you have done. Everyone, go check out the website. The branding and packaging is absolutely stunning. I love everything about your website.
Thank you.
It's your social media. It's like, okay, we can tell that you had a very beautiful and illustrious career in branding in a previous life because it's just multi-million dollar branding. It's beautiful. It speaks
Yeah.
as such. And I think there's going to be an absolute boom over this next year with people just getting to know you better. If someone's listening that would like to bring All Better Co into their boutique or their store, is there a way that they should reach out to you for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And please, like, let's spread the word. Like, you mom and pop stores out there, like, we want you to, we want more people to have access to better products. So yes, you can absolutely go on our website and there's a contact us, and I read every email that comes in. They come directly to us right now. You can reach out to us. In fact, I will say it right now. If people want to email me directly, Stacy, Stacy, no E, at allbetterco.com. And my inbox, I answer and respond to every email. I want to hear from every person. I am very high touch, so we'd love to hear from you.
Oh, yay. Okay, perfect. And for anyone that is interested in purchasing products, there's going to be links in the show notes. Sign up for their newsletter as well, so you can hear about their new products that are coming out in the future. We'll have to have you back on for that. And hopefully, we can have your partner with you next time, so you can have both of you here. And I have one final question for
Yeah.
all of my guests, and it's this: Stacy, how do you make your life rich?
Oh man, I make my life rich through experiences. So I believe that richness is in the love around me, and I have the most incredible. I have 3 children. I try to be as present with them as I can and take in every hug and every squeeze and every moment, and I try to like let it live in my soul. And I will say the other thing that I make myself rich is I'm a competitive soccer player and I still play, and it brings me such joy. And when I do it, it just grounds me and makes me feel like my cup is full.
Oh, yay. I love that so much. Stacey, you are a treasure. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for All Better Co. Thank you for putting out a higher, better, safer, easier standard for everyone to now work towards. And thank you for making the world a better place with
Oh,
your passion and your purpose. This was a delight.
thank you for shining a light. Appreciate you.
We're